Have you ever really stopped to think about something as basic as eating, but without gravity?
Yeah, it changes everything.
Food in space.
Wow.
It's way more complex than you'd think. So today we're doing a deep dive into, well, the whole fascinating world of space cuisine.
It's quite a topic.
We've pulled together a whole stack of sources for you, articles, scientific papers, NASA briefings, that kind of thing, all about how astronauts actually eat up there.
Yeah.
Our mission really is to boil it all down for you. We want to pull out the absolute key insights, the most surprising facts, basically give you a shortcut to understanding astronaut dining.
And it's worth understanding because this isn't just, packing a lunch.
No.
Space food is genuinely engineered meticulously. It's this blend of chemistry, physics, biology.
Right.
So we'll get into how it's made, how it's carried, how it's eaten. And believe me, there are some pretty wild facts in here that are absolutely verifiable, mind-bending stuff, really.
Okay, let's start right there at the beginning. The engineering part. You said meticulously engineered, which sounds intense. What's the sort of core philosophy behind making food for space?
Well, the main goals are maximum nutrition, absolute safety, and critically usability in zero gravity.
Usability. Oh,
Yeah, it has to work without gravity. So food needs to be lightweight, super nutrient dense, stable on a shelf for months, maybe even years.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And absolutely totally safe from any kind of contamination. Then you have secondary things like taste and psychological comfort, which are actually pretty vital for crew morale on long missions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So, okay, those are huge demands. How do they actually make the food meet those criteria? I saw freeze drying mentioned a lot. That always sounds futuristic. How does that work?
Freeze drying, right?
Yeah.
Or lyophilization is the technical term. It's really common. You take the food, freeze it solid.
Okay.
Then you put it in a vacuum, and the vacuum makes the ice sublimate. Yeah, it turns directly from solid ice into water vapor, skips the liquid stage completely, and that removes the moisture really efficiently, makes the food super light, but it keeps most of the nutrients, the flavor, even the texture pretty much intact.
So astronauts just add water back later.
Exactly. Hot water, usually. And you can do this with fruits, vegetables, scrambled eggs, even like full spaghetti dinners.
That's amazing, like a science trick to just pull the water out.
Yeah.
What about other methods? I saw things like thermostabilization and irradiation. They sound serious.
They are. Thermostabilization is, well, it's kind of like advanced canning, really.
Okay.
You heat the food to super high temperatures to kill off any bacteria or enzymes, then seal it in these special flexible pouches. They call them retort pouches or sometimes cans. Makes them shelf stable, no fridge needed.
And irradiation?
Irradiation uses ionizing radiation. They expose the food to it, especially meats like beef steak.
Radiation.
Yeah.
Is that safe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's carefully controlled. It sterilizes the food without cooking it, or it just extends the shelf life dramatically by killing pathogens.
Gotcha.
And then there are simpler methods, too, like just dehydrating foods into powders or granules that need water added back, or intermediate moisture foods like dried fruits or jerky, where they control the water content just enough to stop microbes growing.
Yeah.
And of course, natural form foods, stuff like granola bars or cookies that are just naturally shelf stable. Although cookies are tricky. We'll get to that.
Right, the crumb issue. It's just incredible, the science packed into every single bite. If you're listening, just try to imagine stocking your pantry for, say, 3 years with no fridge, and everything has to be super light.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge.
Okay, so the food is formed using all this science. Now, how do they get it up there? And maybe more importantly, how do they keep it contained so it doesn't just float off mid-meal?
Right. Transportation and packaging are, another highly specialized area. Most of the food is sealed in these special flexible pouches.
The retort pouches.
Sometimes retort, sometimes others. They're usually made of multiple layers of plastic and aluminum foil. Lightweight, tough so they don't puncture easily, and crucially, they stop crumbs or liquids escaping.
Okay, that's key. And stopping the whole package from drifting away.
Exactly. Packages often have like Velcro patches on the back.
Velcro, of course.
Yeah. Or sometimes magnetic strips. So astronauts can just stick them onto trays or walls. Rehydratable food pouches have special little ports for injecting the water.
Ah, smart.
And every single package has a barcode.
For inventory.
For inventory, yes, but also for tracking nutrition, so they know exactly what each astronaut is eating. And fun fact, on the ISS, because it's international.
Ah, multiple languages.
Yep. All the labels are in both Russian and English.
That level of detail is just, wow. What about just the sheer logistics, getting it all into orbit? The weight limits must be brutal.
Oh, absolutely brutal. Food is a big part of the cargo on every resupply mission.
Yeah.
SpaceX Dragon, Cygnus, the Russian Progress ships.
Yep.
NASA figures about 3.8 pounds of food per astronaut per day. That's about 1.7 kilos. And that includes a buffer for emergencies.
Nearly 4 pounds a day. That adds up fast.
It really does. And since launching mass into orbit costs a fortune, the food has to be as light and compact as possible while still meeting all the nutritional needs.
And I read somewhere that the storage on the ISS is like super organized.
It has to be. Imagine trying to find a specific meal pouch floating around. No, it's meticulously organized, stowed in these compact modular containers, lockers, often color-coded, vacuum sealed.
Disrupted by meal type.
Often, yeah, packed by meal type. Anything to keep order in microgravity.
So back to my earlier question.
Yeah.
Definitely no fresh salad bar then.
Huh. No. Fresh produce does get sent up occasionally. Very occasionally.
Like a treat.
Exactly. A real luxury item. But it has to be eaten within about 2 days of arrival. It just doesn't last.
Wow. Think about that next time you grab an apple that's been sitting in your fruit bowl for a week. Up there, a fresh apple needs its own delivery mission, and you've got 48 hours max.
Puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Totally. Okay, so the food is engineered, it's packaged, it's transported, it's stored. Now, the moment of truth, eating it. How do you actually eat a meal when your food, your fork, everything is floating? What are the big challenges?
Well, the number one issue is containment, especially crumbs and liquids.
Right, the crumb problem again.
Exactly. This is why bread is basically a no-go. Too many crumbs. They use tortillas instead.
Tortillas. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, tortillas are great, shelf-stable, they don't make crumbs, you can wrap things in them.
Yeah.
Very versatile. But loose crumbs are a serious hazard. They can get into sensitive equipment, air filters, even into astronauts' eyes or lungs.
So that's why no cookies.
That's why cookies are banned. Too risky.
A tough sacrifice. So, okay, how do they heat things up or add that water back to the freeze-dried stuff?
For the freeze-dried meals, they have a water dispenser, kind of like a water gun. It injects hot or cold water right into the pouch through that special valve we mentioned.
Direct injection, nice.
Yeah.
And for the thermostabilized food, the stuff in pouches that just needs heating, they have a small oven. It's a forced air convection oven.
Yeah, but they're not actually cooking anything.
No, never cooking from scratch, just reheating.
What about simple things like salt and pepper? They just float everywhere as dust.
Precisely. So salt and pepper come in liquid form, suspended in oil or water.
Liquid salt. Weird.
Yeah, prevents those tiny particles from becoming hazards. Other condiments, mustard, ketchup, mayo,
Yeah.
they usually come in little gel packs or squeeze tubes.
And actually eating. You can't use a normal plate and fork, surely.
Nope, they use special trays, often magnetic, or with Velcro strips. Everything gets anchored down.
Utensils.
Utensils too. Spoons and forks are common, often with Velcro on the handle or maybe a tether so they don't float away if you let go. Liquids though.
Yeah. Always straws, sipped from sealed pouches. And the straws usually have clamps to stop liquid escaping when you're not drinking. And honestly, a lot of the food, especially the softer stuff, is just squeezed directly from the pouch into the mouth.
Sounds efficient if not elegant.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Function over form.
Is there even like a dining room table?
There is, kind of. On the ISS, there's a galley area with a table. Astronauts use foot restraints or handholds to keep themselves stable while they eat.
And they eat together.
They're actually encouraged to. Eating together is a really important social ritual. Good for morale, helps maintain a sense of normalcy on those long missions.
So for everyone listening, next time you're eating dinner, just picture doing it strapped down, maybe squeezing your mashed potatoes out of a pouch, and being super careful not to let a single pea escape.
Definitely gives you appreciation for gravity.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. We've covered the how, but let's dive into some of the truly mind-blowing, shocking, but true facts about space food. First one. Why do astronauts suddenly crave hot sauce like crazy?
The hot sauce phenomenon. It's real. Basically, microgravity messes with your body's fluid distribution.
How so?
Fluids tend to shift upwards towards the head. It causes facial puffiness, but also nasal congestion, like having a constant head cold.
Okay.
And when you're congested, your sense of smell is dulled, right? And smell is a huge part of taste, so food starts tasting bland.
So they crave intense flavors.
Exactly. Spicy foods cut through that blandness. Hot sauce, strong curries, anything with a kick becomes really popular. Also, interestingly, the umami taste, that savory flavor, seems less affected, so foods rich in umami are also good.
Fascinating. Okay, next one. This might make some people squirm. The water they use to rehydrate food,
Yeah.
where does it really come from?
Yeah. Well, water is incredibly precious in space, very heavy to launch. So they recycle everything.
Everything.
Pretty much all moisture. That includes humidity from the air, sweat, and yes, urine.
Urine?
Filtered urine, yes. The ISS has an amazing system, the Environmental Control and Life Support System, or ECLSS.
Yeah.
It collects all that wastewater and purifies it rigorously.
How pure are we talking?
They say the recycled water on the ISS is often cleaner than most tap water back here on Earth.
Wow, okay. Still takes a mental adjustment, though.
Yeah.
What about fizzy drinks? Can they have a soda in space?
Nope, no carbonated beverages.
Why not?
Because of burping. On Earth, gravity helps separate the gas and liquid in your stomach, so when you burp, it's mostly gas.
Right.
In microgravity, the gas and liquid don't separate properly. They stay mixed. So if you tried to burp after drinking soda, you'd get what astronauts graphically call a wet burp.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Basically regurgitating liquid along with the gas. Unpleasant and messy. So no fizzy drinks.
Good to know. Okay, history question. What was the absolute first food eaten in space?
That goes to Yuri Gagarin. On his historic flight in 1961, he ate pureed meat and some chocolate sauce. Squeezed out of toothpaste-style tubes. Very glamorous.
Not quite. What about that freeze-dried ice cream you see in Science Museum gift shops? Is that a real astronaut thing?
The famous astronaut ice cream. It's mostly a myth, really. Well, it was developed and tested back in the Apollo era, but it turned out to be really crumbly and not very popular with the astronauts themselves. So it was never a staple food, and it's hardly ever flown these days. Its fame comes almost entirely from those gift shops.
So that's just marketing. Okay, shelf life, you mentioned it has to last. How long exactly?
For the ISS, the standard requirement is a minimum verified shelf life of 18 months at room temperature.
18 months.
Yep. That covers the time for production, testing, packing, launch delays, transit, and then actual storage time on the station before it's eaten.
Incredible planning.
Yeah.
But I also heard they have pizza parties. How does that work?
They do. Well, sort of. Back in 2017, astronauts on the ISS made their own pizzas.
Made them. Like with dough and ovens.
Not quite like at home. They used flatbread or tortillas as the base, and then added sauce and toppings from prepackaged ingredients, then heated them up.
Still, pizza night in space. That's cool.
It's a great morale booster. Shows how you can adapt familiar foods.
But eating the same kind of stuff, even with 200 options, must get repetitive on long missions. Is menu fatigue a real problem?
Oh, absolutely. Menu fatigue is very real, and it can actually be dangerous.
Dangerous. How?
If astronauts get bored with the food, they might start eating less. That can lead to appetite loss, weight loss, nutritional deficiencies, which you really can't afford in space.
So the variety is crucial.
Crucial. That's why they have that rotating menu of around 200 items with contributions from different international partners. Keeps things interesting.
And you mentioned no fridge earlier, just for experiments, not for food.
That's right. No refrigerator for the general food supply. Everything has to be shelf-stable or consumed very quickly if it's one of those rare fresh deliveries.
But they are growing some things now, like the lettuce you mentioned.
Yes, that's a really exciting area. NASA's been experimenting with growing fresh vegetables right there on the ISS.
What systems do they use?
Systems like Veggie and the Advanced Plant Habitat. They've successfully grown and eaten things like lettuce, radishes, chili peppers since about 2015.
That must be amazing for them.
Imagine a fresh crunch after months of packaged food. Plus, it's vital research for future long trips like to Mars, where you'll have to grow your own food.
Speaking of costs, you said launching stuff is expensive. How much does a single space meal actually cost to get up there?
It's hard to put an exact price on one meal, but considering the research development, the rigorous testing, the specialized packaging, launch costs, developing and delivering a single meal can easily run into thousands of dollars.
Thousands for one meal?
Yeah.
Wow. It seems food is about way more than just calories up there.
Oh, definitely. It's hugely important psychologically. Familiar foods, comfort foods, celebrating holidays with special meals. It's a massive morale booster. Connects them to Earth, to home.
And with all that processing and recycling, has anyone ever actually gotten sick from space food, like food poisoning?
It's pretty amazing, but no, there have been 0 reported cases of actual foodborne illness on any human space mission.
0. That's incredible.
It really is. Just shows how incredibly strict and effective the food safety protocols are. They cannot afford to have an astronaut get sick from the food.
That's reassuring. Now for classic space story, Someone smuggled a sandwich once.
Ha ha! Yes. The infamous corned beef sandwich incident, Gemini 3, 1965. Astronaut John Young snuck it on board in his spacesuit pocket.
Oh.
He took it out mid-flight as a bit of a joke, but rye bread is crumbly. Crumbs started floating everywhere, which was a potential hazard for the electronics. NASA was not amused. Unauthorized food has been strictly forbidden ever since.
Lesson learned. And what about alcohol? Officially banned by NASA, right?
Officially, yes. NASA has a strict no alcohol policy. However, there are, let's say, persistent rumors and some anecdotal accounts, particularly from the Russian side during the Mir space station era, that small amounts of cognac might have occasionally found their way aboard.
Interesting. And one last weird food thing. Why no naturally fermented foods like yogurt or aged cheese?
Two main reasons. One, continued fermentation could produce gas, like carbon dioxide or even alcohol, problematic in a sealed environment.
Right.
And two, stability. Those foods rely on live cultures, which might not survive the temperature extremes during transport anywhere from minus 157 Fahrenheit up to 200 Fahrenheit. Everything has to be incredibly stable. Plus, you've got those specific nutritional targets like needing 1,500, 2,000 milligrams of calcium daily because of bone loss.
Yes, the bone density issue.
And that precise calorie count, 2,500, 3,000 calories a day. Everything is calculated.
So, looking ahead now, where is space food technology going? It sounds like it's always evolving.
It definitely is. There's constant work on improving variety, taste, texture, making it more appealing. And packaging technology keeps getting better too, lighter, more efficient.
And I heard something about 3D printing food. Is that real?
It's a very active area of research. The idea is that future missions, especially long ones, could use 3D printers to create customized meals on demand.
How would that work?
You'd have cartridges of basic edible ingredients, powders, oils, flavorings, and the printer could combine them layer by layer to create different foods.
So you could print a pizza or pasta.
Potentially, yes. It offers huge advantages. Customized nutrition, much greater variety, less waste, maybe even a sense of freshness. It could be revolutionary for, say, a Mars mission, where you can't just send resupply ships.
Right, for those Mars missions, they'll need food systems that last for years, totally self-contained.
Exactly. We're talking sustainability for maybe 2 to 3 years. It'll almost certainly have to be a mix, some advanced prepackaged foods combined with bioregenerative systems.
Like the veggie growers on the ISS.
Like veggie, but probably much more advanced. Hydroponics, maybe aeroponics for growing crops, potentially even using algae or specially engineered microbes. The experiments happening now on the ISS are laying the groundwork for all that.
And through all this, still no food poisoning incidents. That's just remarkable.
It really is. It highlights the incredible level of engineering, science, and just sheer meticulousness that goes into keeping humans alive and healthy off this planet. Every single aspect of something as basic as eating has to be completely rethought for survival and mission success.
So we've really covered a lot today.
Yeah.
From, the nuts and bolts of freeze drying and thermostabilization to the weird realities of eating in zero-G.
Yeah, the floating tortillas, the liquid salt.
The recycled water, the craving for hot sauce, the fact that astronaut ice cream isn't really a thing.
Yeah, bursting that bubble.
It really shows how physics, chemistry, biology all come together just to make a meal possible in space.
Absolutely. And the way space food has evolved, it perfectly mirrors our growing ambition and ingenuity in space exploration itself. It's about human survival, but also about human well-being far from home.
So for you listening, hopefully this deep dive gives you maybe a new appreciation for your next meal right here on Earth, with gravity holding everything down.
And fresh ingredients easily available.
And definitely no floating crumbs to worry about.
Yeah. But maybe it also leaves you with a thought to chew on. As we push further out to Mars and beyond, what will we eat? How different will space food look in 50 years? What completely new flavors or forms of nutrition might we discover out there?
A taste of the future, perhaps.